Okay. Thank you all so much. So good evening once again. This is Wisdom from TUSI Institute of Counseling and Technology, the Vice Principal for the Institute. And I will be moderating today's session. At some point, one of our staff at TUSI will take over the moderation. Please, I hope you can hear me. Type yes in the chat if you can hear me. Okay. In order to ensure that we don't have too many or too much distractions in the background, everyone is muted as always. When it's time for you to contribute or ask questions, we will unmute you. This evening, we are here to have another professional development program that is non-credit based, but it is supposed to help build our portfolio. So the more you learn, the better you become, as we know. And we'll be looking at maintaining professional boundaries in the teacher-learner relationship, which is a very important topic. And I believe that our facilitator for today will do a good job with it. He is the Deputy Research Lead at TUSI and an educationist. He took us through our recent CPD on emotional intelligence for teachers. And this evening, he will be taking us once again to look at the topic, maintaining boundaries, professional boundaries in the teacher-learner relationship. Please, we'll welcome our brother and friend, Mr. Emmanuel Afeti, to take over. Mr. Afeti, you can take it up. Thank you. Okay, I realize I've not unmuted you. Yes, please, you can unmute. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vice President, Vice Principal of the TUSI Institute. Good evening to us all. And I welcome you all again, especially to this webinar, maintaining professional boundaries in teacher-learner relationships. It is my privilege to walk us through this vital topic. And this is a topic that does not only affect our learners, but also protects the integrity and welfare of the teaching profession. I believe you can all see my screen. Can you give me thumbs up if you can see the screen? Vice, please, can you see the screen?
Yes, but it's not in a presentation mode.
Good. I believe.
Yes, it's now.
You can see it. Okay. Yeah, so as I've mentioned earlier, this evening, we are looking at maintaining professional boundaries in a teacher-learner relationship in the classroom, in our school. To what extent can we go as teachers? So specifically, we will be looking at, or we'll try to understand what professional boundaries are and their importance. Look at some key boundary expectations, then look at some red flags, things we should look out for in the school environment, in the classroom, to help us to keep these boundaries, and look at some prevention strategies. But before we zoom into the main presentation, there is something I call a brain teaser, which I'll use to welcome all of us on board as we gear towards this presentation. So this is a question I'm going to ask, and I'll treat as if you know the answer, you just put it in the chat box. If were to be an in-person meeting, I would have given the person maybe a chocolate. But since this is a webinar, the next time we'll meet in person, we'll get a chocolate. So the first one, it says there are 3 houses. One is red, one is blue, and one is white. If the red house is to the left of the house in the middle, and the blue house is to the right to the house in the middle, where is the white house? So if you know the answer, kindly put it in the chat box. This is a question. Where do you think we can find the White House? Guys, do you have some answers in the chat box? Oh, yeah, start thinking.
Not yet. Okay, so Miss Edwards says in the middle. Naomi also says in the middle. Victor says in the middle. So it looks like so far, Belawu also says in the middle. Hey, in the middle from Ophelia.
Okay. Thank you very much. But I told you this is a brain teaser, and you don't need to think much about the question. Otherwise, you'll get it wrong. Let me surprise you. The correct answer, you can find the White House in Washington, D.C., in the United States of America. So that is our brain teaser for the evening. Now, let's do another one. The question says, Mike is a butcher. He is 5.10 feet tall. What does he weigh? Mike is a butcher. He is 5.10 feet tall. What does he weigh? So again, if you know the answer, please put it in the chat. Please say the answer.
Miss Edwards says meat.
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 Okay.
Amanda also says meat. Michael, meat. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. So now we are all back to understand the brain teaser. Yes, the right answer is meat. I think someone's hand is up. I don't know if you can unmute the person. Vice, I think Sophia's hand is up. Hello, Vice. Who's are you there?
Oh, sorry. I was talking. My mic was off. So,
okay.
Sophia, I muted you. Oh. I think she's not able to.
Oh, okay. So thank you all for participating in the brain teaser. I would like to hear from maybe 2 people on how they feel about the brain teaser before we continue. So anyone sharing your experience about the brain teaser, especially the first one, you can raise your hand. We'll unmute you so you share your views with us in 30 seconds. Then we can zoom into the business of the day. Any volunteer to share your experience with us on the brain teaser? I want to hear someone.
I don't see any hand. There's nothing in the chat.
Someone should volunteer someone. Please, someone should volunteer and share your feeling with us. I just want to hear someone's voice aside the vibe. Maybe any of our colleague, teacher, online. Is it Amanda Dolagbon? Can you hear from you? Would you like to share your view with us? Oh, Victor. Victor's hand is up.
Yeah, so Victor, you can unmute and talk.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's rather Victoria.
Okay.
And a short and Victor. Okay. So thank you so much for this evening's program. And concerning the brain teaser, the first one, in fact, it got me thinking so much, doing some maths. But when the answer came in, I saw that, yeah, this is really a brain teaser. So the second one was much easier.
Okay.
And it's like sometimes we think very deep, whilst things are just simple. And that is how I feel. And I feel that it's a very good beginning. It's really a brain teaser. So my brain is really poised to absorb whatever that is in store for us this evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you too for your feedback. Please, do you have any?
We have Emmanuel Kwame Kwashi. I think he has raised his hand in the chat. Let me check for his name and unmute. Mr. Kwashi, you can unmute.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much. But what I want to share, Victoria has shared it. But sir, I want to say that you said, 3 houses with different colors on the compound. You have, although it's a brain teaser, I was thinking that if you could see my answer in the comment section, I said it will be middle behind. So you have it like 1, 2, 3. But you said the White House is in Washington, D.C. And I laughed.
Yeah.
It really waked me up.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I just want to play with the brain small. At times you think too much. You think so deep. I will start calculating, drawing houses.
Yes,
to see where I can find it.
Exactly. That's a smart one. Thank you very much.
Yes. So let's kickstart the business of the day. Maintaining professional boundaries in the teacher and learner relationship. Before I kickstart this presentation, I want to clearly state some important truths about teaching and learning in general. Before we look at the boundaries, the GES Code of Conduct, and all what research has been saying and all that, these are some key important truths I want us to look at. The first one, a teacher's relationship with learners is one of the most powerful influence in education. So as a teacher, your relationship with the learner is a powerful influence in terms of the rate at which they accumulate what you are teaching and their academic outcome. So your relationship influences that. 2, students learn better when they feel safe, respected, and supported. And I believe our previous professional development program we had on emotional intelligence, I spoke much on this. Students feeling safe, respected, and supported. But the reality is that because of the unique trust placed in us as teachers, okay, our role as teachers in influencing their educational outcome, we must be extremely careful to avoid some intentional or unintentional actions that can compromise our professional standing, which at the long run will influence or their academic outcome. So as we move on to look at these boundaries, I want us to note that indeed we are the CEO in the classroom. We control the classroom. We are in charge. But there is a caveat. Our actions and inactions, we must be careful that it doesn't harm the learner or compromise our professional standing. That is why we need to always keep reminding ourselves of this professional ethics, the boundaries, the extent to which we can go as a teacher. There is another truth. When we read the GES Code of Conduct, it tells that we teachers, we are duty bearers, which means that we carry legal and moral responsibility in the classroom. And what do we carry the moral and the legal responsibility to do? We are supposed to use it to protect the welfare of our learners. We are supposed to use it to maintain the dignity of the teaching profession, then also avoid any behavior that could bring the service into disrepute. So, in as much as we are duty bearers, we are carrying a legal and moral responsibility. So, although you are the CEO, wherever you find yourself, either in or whichever region, wherever in Ghana, wherever in the world, you are a duty bearer. And you have legal backing, at the same time, moral responsibility to protect the welfare of your learner in the classroom, to maintain the dignity of the teaching profession as well. And the truth is that when we are talking about professional boundaries, it is not a boundary for you to be cold or distant from your learners. So they say, I shouldn't do this. So whatever that is happening on campus, I don't mind. I'm not going to involve myself in it, and so on. No, it is not that. But rather, professional boundaries are supposed to protect us, to help us to be professional, transparent, and be safe as teachers in the classroom. So I want us to view professional boundaries from this lens, that professional boundaries are not taking your powers away from you as a CEO in the classroom. They are not taking your powers away from you as a director in the classroom, but rather they are helping you to be professional in this relationship, to be transparent with your learners in this relationship, and also to be safe with your learners in this relationship. So what then are professional boundaries? There are two quick definitions I want us to look at. The first one is, they are limits that define the relationship between a person seeking a help and a professional. So the boundaries are the limits, the extent to which you can go in a relationship between someone who is seeking a help from you and a professional. And this usually happens in situations where there are power imbalance And that's what our second definition talk about. Professional boundaries are the limits that help teachers maintain healthy, ethical, and appropriate relationship with learners. And let us be aware that teacher and learner relationship is power imbalance. In a way that as a teacher, you have power. As I keep saying, you are the CEO in the classroom, you are the director. And the students in that kind of relationship becomes your subordinate in quotes. So professional boundary set comes in and tells you that as a teacher, to what extent can you go so that you don't abuse your power, that I am the teacher. So you are going to get F, you are going to do this. To what extent can you go as a teacher in the classroom, in the school environment, when it comes to your relationship with your learner? So that is professional boundaries. And these are key things we must be aware of. And we must be intentional about them. And dwelling on the second definition again, they are limits that help teachers to maintain healthy relationship with your learner, ethical relationship with your learner, and appropriate relationship with your learner in the classroom, in the school environment, outside the school environment. So if we are supposed to observe, obey these boundaries to, even at a long run, reduce our stress level as teachers. Because you know your boundary, you know the extent to which you can go. You can't go overboard where you go against the ethics of your appointment letter. You go against the ethics of your profession. And when it comes to professional boundaries, this cuts across every profession. Every profession, we have professional boundaries, the extent to which someone can go. But we are coming back and we are focusing on the teacher and learner relationship in the school or outside the school environment, in the classroom, etc. So what are some of the professional boundaries? The first one is the physical boundary that we are supposed to take note of. Okay, these are limits regarding the appropriate physical contact, the personal space, and touch to maintain a safe and professional environment. GES says no corporal punishment. So it means as a teacher, when you are disciplining a student, you cannot go beyond a certain threshold. So for the sake of this discussion, let me use threshold. Okay, so you can't go beyond a certain threshold. If they said no corporal punishment, does that mean they are taking power away from you not to punish students? No. Does that mean they are taking power away from you not to discipline or to modify the behavior of your learner? No. But it means in administering that punishment, you have a boundary. You have a threshold that you are not supposed to go above. And this one helps us to modify behavior appropriately. And reality psychology will tell you that at times, if you don't know the appropriate punishment to give, you may think you are modifying a behavior, but at the end, you are rather strengthening that bad behavior. And I'm happy and I know that throughout our training, throughout our experiences, we've come across a lot of disciplinary tools that we can use to modify behaviors, that our learners will come and realize that, yes, I've gone through this school and my behavior has changed. Another physical boundary, no harmful or degrading physical treatment. No unnecessary physical contact with students. Underline, no unnecessary physical contact. But you must also be aware that there is a threshold. We don't use learners for our personal errands, our chores, or labor. And the GES code is against that. So it means it's a boundary for us. And all this is helping us just to maintain the dignity, the professional integrity of teaching. And when we come to the physical contact with students, you don't just get up and be touching students. There is a threshold. Even when a student is distressed, okay, a student is stressed, such that you need to comfort that student. There is a limit in which you can touch that student. You don't get so intimate with the student. Holding the student for long. In such a situation, you must be brave. And such touch must not be intimate. And even if there is a cause that, the student is stressed, you are supposed to, such things must be in public, not private. You don't keep such a physical touch secret. You go somewhere, you don't get so, I'm comforting you. So you keep the student or your learner in the classroom somewhere and say, in the name of I'm comforting you, you are stressed. Then you keep touching. You know. Then another professional boundary that we're supposed to take a critical look at is the psychological and emotional boundary. Teachers must not insult. In the learner-teacher relationship, you cannot threaten your learner. You don't just get up. If you don't do this, I'll fail you. You this, or humiliate your learner, or discriminate against your learner. No. It's a professional boundary that you're supposed to observe. Don't forget the first important truth I made mention of. Your relationship with the learner will influence their academic performance. And there are a lot of empirical studies on that. The students who have good relationship with their teachers, who have good relationship with their learners, they tend to create collaborative learning environment, good climate in the classroom, and at the long run, improves student academic performance. So when it comes to psychological and emotional relationship, we have a boundary. You don't go beyond that threshold. You come to the classroom, always insulting the student, always threatening them. You humiliate them. You are good for nothing, and a whole lot. No, you don't do that in the classroom. Not in the classroom, you are supposed to raise minds. And these days, we are interested in growth mindset in the classroom. So all our actions and inactions must contribute towards our learners developing growth mindset. And in achieving that, it's a must for us to observe the professional boundaries or our codes of conduct as teachers. Then the next one is the sexual boundaries. And I said this is the most serious area, and it happens. Look, when you read what I have in red, it's not a direct quote, but it's stated in your code of conduct. Any sexual or romantic interaction with a learner is prohibited in the teaching profession. Either there is a consent or no consent, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Either you are doing it in secret or public, that people are aware of it, it doesn't matter. It is a misconduct. When you do that, you are going, or you are moving above the threshold. And your code of conduct, I think the last time I read it, there are disciplinary actions against that. So any kind of social or romantic interaction, romantic messages with your learner, unnecessary touching with your learner, again, in quote, unnecessary touching, asking for your learner's pictures privately. Send me this picture, and send me this. Or using words like, oh, sweetheart, my crush. You see, in the classroom, especially those at the second cycle institutions, most of your, in fact, most of them are in the adolescent stage. And adolescents behave at times strangely. You may think, okay, you are just saying sweetheart in class, no feeling attached. But adolescent, it will surprise you. Adolescents interpret it differently. That is why with your profession, you are not supposed to do that. For them to even think of anything negative, which you might not be thinking of as a teacher. So this boundary is there to protect us as teachers and the student, so that no one misinterprets our intention. No one accuses us or tags us with a lot of allegations. We must not. It is a misconduct to have any romantic or interaction with your learner. Then another key professional boundary that I'd like us to look at is what I think the social boundaries. Social boundaries. Favoritism. Over-involvement in a learner's personal life. The key word, over-involvement. You are so much involved in your learner's life, their personal life. You are too much. I told you, this some of these professional boundaries, and let me use some, because some of them, even the minute one, is a misconduct. For example, the over-involvement in learners' personal life. It's just like stress on a scale. You know, we have the lower level stress, someone that is moderately stressed, and someone who is highly stressed. Now, when you move from stress, you go to another dimension. You are depressed. Okay, you are depressed. Then usually when it's stress, we try to manage it. When we get to depression, then we start thinking, no, let's quickly solve this before it gets to the panic stage. Because when you get to panic stage, we are scared of suicide and all that. It's the same with this involvement, over-involvement in personal learners' personal life works. Oh, you can care about your learners' academic life, and once in a while you ask about one or two personal life. Oh, how is home? This is finished. But if it continues consistently, over-involvement, there's thing that you even become a family member now, sharing personal things, that becomes a professional boundary. You are going beyond what you are supposed to do. You are going beyond your duty. Always trying to spend extra time alone with your students regularly. Regularly. You spend time with your learner. Then accepting gift, that creates obligation. There are certain gifts you accept from your learners. It creates, or it puts an obligation on you as a teacher. So we must look at that. it is against our profession. Then private socializing with students outside school. Oh, what's your schedule after school? I want us to go somewhere alone, private. Or let us go and sit here and talk after school. Your learner is supposed to go home or go and prepare for preps and say, oh, let us meet, let us go out. It is not good. It is against our ethics. Because at times you look at this and you're like, oh, it's not just a private, it's not just socializing. I'm just going to socialize with my students. Is there something bad about it? Continue regularly, 1, 2, 3. Even if your intentions are clear, maybe you are just going to say, okay, let's just go and discuss something that we studied. Even if your intentions are clear, allegations will be leveled against you as a teacher. And as soon as allegations are being leveled against you as a teacher, you are putting the dignity of the teaching profession in the mud. So that is why you must be careful and observe these boundaries. How do you, as a teacher, know your boundary? Aside your code of conduct, in areas which are gray, let's say there are no rules and regulations, so you think you can do that, or you can do others. What must you do as a teacher? What must you do in that kind of relationship with your learner? How do you know your boundary? Even if it is not stated in your appointment letter or in your code of conduct manual, or it's not documented, what should you do? There is something I call time, place, circumstance test. Time, place, circumstance test. And this is the test you are supposed to set for yourself. You are supposed to score it yourself, then take a decision yourself. Whenever you are unsure of the action you are going to take in relation to your student, you being a teacher and your learner relationship, in that kind of relationship, if you want to take any action, please, as for this one, we are just using it to guide ourselves as teachers, so that we don't go beyond the boundary. Questions we are supposed to ask ourselves as teachers, male inclusive, as educationists. Number 1, is this the right time? That is the time factor in the text. Is this the right time for me to take this action? For me to put up this behavior? For me to do this? Is this the right time? Number 2, is this the right place for me to do this? So I asked myself, as a teacher in the classroom, is this the right time for me to go on private socialization with my learner? Is this the right place for me or for us to go? Or let's say even maybe the learner is lagging when it comes to academic work, and you want to offer extra help, okay, maybe extra classes for your learner to catch up with others in the class. But before you do that, ask yourself again, is this the right time for me to do it? At what time are we meeting? Is this the right place? Where are we meeting to have that lesson? Is it public or private? Are we meeting somewhere that is very close, that no one can see us, or it's an open place? Then the last part, is this the right circumstance for this interaction with your students? we must set for ourselves as teachers, as educationists. And when we set this we are going to answer it ourselves. And the rule is that if the answer is no to any of the three, not one, even if 2 is correct and 2 is right and 1 is no, just 1 is no, you have to pause and ask yourself, what other alternative do I have? And choose the safer alternative. If you're able to answer this question and you say that no, as for this particular action I'm going to take with my learner, maybe you think the time is right, and you look at the place. Is this an open place? This is a closed place, so anything can happen. And you say, okay, that one is no. Please go for safer alternative. If you do that, you are keeping yourself within the boundaries. You don't go beyond. And as soon as you cross that threshold, you are in trouble. Now you will start raising alarm. This teacher has misconducted him or herself. So we have to be extra cautious when it comes to our professional boundaries. Anything we want to do with our learner, if we realize this is not the right time, this is not the right place, this is not the right circumstance, please let us choose a safer alternative. If you realize that maybe a student is distressed and realize you trying to comfort the distressed student might lead to something, you answer this question. If you realize this is not the right circumstance for you, choose safer alternative. Safer alternative could be, let me refer you. You are stressed. There is a counseling unit. Let me refer you to the counseling unit of the school. If there is no counseling framework, if you realize you are the opposite sex, I refer you to your same sex teacher so that you're able to handle it freely. I'm choosing safer alternative so that I don't try, and by the time I realize I am going beyond my threshold. So in all circumstances, I have to ask myself this question as a teacher. Is this the right time for me? Is this the right place? And is this the right circumstance for this interaction or this behavior with my learner? And my answers determines what I should do. With these professional boundaries, there are some key things I put together whilst preparing for this webinar, which I term the red flags, things we should look at for, so that we don't end up maybe putting our integrity at stake. Some high risk situations. Okay, and you see, naturally in the school environment, there are some situations that will come, naturally occurred behavior. No matter what, as a teacher, you surely have one-on-one meeting with your learner. But I note it as a red flag, in the sense that if you are doing this, always try and keep such meetings very short. If you are helping with emotional problems, academic struggles, which can at times can lead to a frequent private meetings, try and keep them short. As much as possible, keep them visible. Do not, or we should not, because I'm part, we should not go and hide somewhere and say we are helping with emotional problems and no. With these frequent meetings, then we must try and keep them professional. What does our professional ethics say when it comes to such meetings? Even if you are a counselor in the school, even if you are a counselor, usually you have your counseling office. Mind you, there are professional boundaries in the counseling field as well. And when you go beyond that boundary, there are penalties you usually face, which means, as for the counseling, you are going to revoke your license. And I know for teaching to revoke it. So we have to be careful. I am not saying we should not involve ourselves in this, but I'm just putting out a caution that it is a red flag. And when we are doing this, or when we are doing one-on-one meetings, we should keep them short, keep them visible, or keep them professional, so that we don't find ourselves in the mud. Then another red flag is special treatment. Any form of favoritism is a red flag. Mind you, before any misconduct can happen, or let's even use the sexual boundary, for example, before it can happen, it starts from favoritism. You start favorite, always trying to be the favorite of that learner in the classroom. Oh, I'll do this. Oh, you do this. One time you do this in the classroom. We have to take a critical look at that. When we are in such situation, let us be careful we don't cross the threshold. Spending extra time with one learner, always giving privileges to that particular learner, emotional closeness, or giving pet names. Is it taking side in friendship or relationship issues? You see, as soon as we keep repeating such behaviors, they keep repeating one after one, day by day, it goes, we keep repeating that, we kind of draw that closeness with our learners. And this is where the red flag comes in. If you are not able to aim it at the learner-teacher relationship level, and we go beyond that, you are in trouble. So anytime you are offering special treatment to our learners, let us be careful. And let us be conscious in the way in which we administer such things. When you are giving privileges, do not always be giving that privilege to that one particular learner. It raises allegations. At times you'll be hearing our learners. They'll be saying, you like these students in the class more than me. And at this, you like this more than us. And when you are lashing at us, you lash us more than when you get to attend. They are students, they will say it. So we have to be careful when we are giving treatment to our learners. We should ensure we give same and equal treatment to all. Everyone should have the probability, the opportunity to benefit from such privileges. Then our emotional over-involvement. When you realize that as a teacher, one particular student is overly attached to you, we have to be careful. Or that student is jealous of others when they get closer to you. There was a case I had when the student was telling the teacher that, these days, why are you getting closer to this my friend? When you come to class, you're always getting closer to her. You can feel some jealousy in there. So as a teacher, what must you do? We have to be careful of such situations. Let us not put our learners into that mode. And as soon as you are realizing these things, please, they are red flags. They are high-risk situations. Quickly, you must be careful. And quickly, you must come back to your code of conduct and see the threshold that you can go. Or you make students feel comfortable sharing intimate details with you. You have to be careful when you are sharing the intimate details. You have to be careful. You have to act professionally. We shouldn't fall or become victims through that. Or because you are sharing your intimate details with me, we get comfortable, too comfortable. By the time you realize something else is happening. That is why I said we have to be careful as teachers so that we don't go and do something else. Does that mean we shouldn't have conversation with our learners? No, you're supposed to have. But in having that conversation, it should be according to your professional code of conduct. Then there is this digital intimacy. And this is the as well, okay, where you realize you are having always having late night sending voice note with emotional tones. Today the day has been stressful. I'm feeling sad. I added emotional tone. He or she is your learner. So when you are even sending message, or you want to inform them about something, you go professionally. You don't go and be adding emotions to it. Sending heart emojis, having constant private calls, always sharing your personal pictures with your learners. Look, when you see, or when we see ourselves in these situations, what I am trying to say is we must be careful, because these are the triggers or the red flags. These are the lead-ons. So you start with this voice note with emotional tone. The learner will also respond. Voice note with emotional tone. And by the time you realize emotions are getting closer. Now you start sharing emojis. Now you start sharing stickers. Love stickers. Stickers that people are kissing. It is a red flag. As soon as you are getting closer or you are getting there, you know what to do. And let me just make this. The Bible tells us, flee from temptation. Flee, fly away. As soon as you realize these triggers are getting closer, as for this learner, your learner sending you message with a lot of emotional tone. Oh, say this, that, and that. Oh, madam, this, that, and that. Let us be careful so that we don't become victims of such tricks. Don't forget, our learners can trick us. Okay, our learners, they can trick us. And if you don't take time, we will fall. That is why it is good we gather as teachers and remind ourselves that this is a red flag. So in such situation, I am supposed to move away. If I realize that you are sending voice note, all that and that, maybe you need my help, I come to school. Or I realize that you message me around 11 p.m., 12 a.m. without kind of voice note and a whole lot. I don't respond to you. I come back in the morning, the following day in the morning, and I invite you. And man, when you are inviting such students, you try and be in a public space. There are lovers' bench now on campuses, under trees. You sit there. Whoever that is passing, is seeing you both. So you discuss. Oh, you send this message. Also, you realize that it's getting too emotional. Please, if you can't handle it, refer to the counselor. If you realize these are things that you can't handle and to put you in trouble, they say, man, know thyself. In our previous, when we were doing emotional intelligence, the awareness. I am aware of myself. I know my strength and I know my weakness. So as soon as we see these red flags, let us be careful. It don't lead us to go against our professional boundaries. Then again, the student behavior that tests our boundaries. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Your learners giving you inappropriate comments. Or maybe always want to say, can we meet privately? Or oversharing personal issues with you. Everything that happens, the learner will come. Everything that happens, from both internal and external, the learner is always coming to you. Does that mean the learner trusts you? Yes, but in handling it, please be professional. Let us be professional about it. And I'm using let us because I am an educationist as well. So we must, it's a must for us that in handling all these situations, we should be aware of the danger. We should be aware of the danger so that you don't put the teaching profession into disrepute. Where people just are teachers there these days, they're just living with their kids. They don't care about their learners. No. Let us act professionally so that they respect our profession. So when you speak, you know that yes, this is a teacher speaking. This is a trained teacher speaking based on our behaviors. So no matter what, if our student push us to the wall, even if our student let's give us a concern that, oh, let's feel free and no. Let us remind ourselves that it is a red flag that we are supposed to run away from or handle it professionally, appropriately. And again, before I move on and look at some of the prevention strategies, although I've even mentioned a lot already, I want to remind us as teachers once again that professional boundaries are not supposed to put us in one corner such that we don't care about our learners, but rather in caring for our learners, the professional boundaries are helping us to do it ethically, to do it in a healthy way, so that at the end, we protect both the learner and ourselves. So what are some of the prevention strategies we can use as teachers? We should keep interactions visible and not secret. Okay, we should keep our interactions visible and not secret. Whatever we want to do with our learner, please let it be visible. Let it be visible. And again, use the time, place, circumstance test. The time, place, circumstance. Is this the right time? Is this the right place? Is this the right circumstance? Let us always maintain professional distance. Let us always maintain professional distance. Don't go beyond your threshold as a teacher. Do things you are allowed to do. The rest that you cannot do, or profession does not permit you to do, please refer, so that we keep or we be in a safe place. Then when it becomes necessary, let us document sensitive interactions. And this goes to those of us who practice school counseling. We are part of the counseling committee. Issues count out, please. And where you use or you touch your learning, try and use full approved digital platform, depending on the level which you are. Try and use approved digital platforms so that you don't become a victim, or so that no one pushes you to the wall where you go and fall for temptation. Then the last one, know the GES code of conduct and uphold it consistently. As soon as we continue part of this profession, the code of conduct must be our guide. The code of conduct must be our second Bible, where after doing your devotion, after your prayers, or after observing your religious practice, the next thing you look out for is, what am I supposed to do as a teacher professionally? So we have to keep the code of conduct as a Bible beside us, so that we keep reading and get aware of this. And as usual, take notice of the red flags or the high risk situations that can put us into trouble, so that we don't fall a victim. Because when we practice professional boundaries, when we practice this, it benefits us as teachers, so that we avoid allegation, stress, and confusion. If you stay within your professional ethics, there's no confusion. You know whatever you are doing is within your professional ethics or your code of conduct. So why should you be confused? Why should you be stressed? Then you avoid these allegations. Because recently there was this allegation I heard, where even down the teacher himself was asking one learner that, I heard your colleagues are saying I am in a relationship with a number of girls in the class. So you see the allegation. So you have heard, that is an allegation, maybe based on your action or inaction. That is why I say we must be careful. And when you practice this professional boundary, it benefits that we avoid that, so that nobody will come and label us that we are in this, doing this. We don't feel stressed, because we know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Then to our students, they give them safety, fairness, and protection. Okay, because we don't practice favoritism, we don't discriminate, we ensure that all learners have equal probability of having any privilege in the classroom. So they feel safe. They feel that whatever the treatment they are receiving is fair and they are being protected. Then to the ultimate profession. To the ultimate profession. It's when we observe this professional boundary, we uphold the trust in society. That teaching profession is a profession with dignity, profession with integrity, and profession with trust. So in conclusion, Once again, I'm saying that professional boundaries are not barriers to caring for students. And I keep stressing this. Professional boundaries are not barriers to caring for students. They are the framework that allow us to care responsibly. Frameworks that allow us to care ethically and safely. So let us be aware of this. And let us continue to remind ourselves that our learners do well or perform well academically when they realize that their teachers are treating them fairly, and they tend to trust you because of your actions and inactions, which are professionally good. I thank you all for listening, and thank you all for paying attention. And do not forget these quotes as you go away by Dr. Rachel Edo Iket, that when we set healthy boundaries, we don't just protect our energy, we give others permission to protect theirs. So when we live according to the professional boundaries, we don't only protect our energy as teachers, but we allow our learners to also protect their boundaries, for them to also know the limit which they can go with their teacher. Thank you once again for your attention. Mr. Vice President.
So thank you very much, Emmanuel. Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Ison, and I'm taking over from Mr. Wisdom as your moderator. So Ima, once again, thank you for such a thought-provoking presentation. Please, if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat or raise your hand so that I can unmute you. But Ima, there are a couple of comments or questions in the chat, so I will be reading them to you so that you respond.
Okay.
Okay. So Ima wants to find out how he can discipline a learner so that it doesn't go against any of the GES law or the lessons you've given us this evening.
Okay. So how can an aside doesn't go against the GES law? What does our code of conduct do? Or what does? I think there's one policy on that. When they cancel corporal punishment. In fact, there are lots of positive discipline tools that we can use. And if we can recall a course called behavior modification, how do you modify a behavior in the classroom? Where you go with punishments and reinforcements. Good. Now, when it comes to punishment, there are several ways of punishing a behavior that will lead you or that will lead you to modify that particular behavior you are targeting. And this is something that we should all try to be aware of. It's not always about corporal punishment. No, we have passed that stage. You see, one thing I've realized is that when it comes to this lashing of students, where some people call the lashing as corporal, some to call it that it's not corporal. And so that is a debate on its own. But why, we as teachers, why must we lash a learner to the extent that we hurt the learner? Is it because you are trying to correct that behavior or not? Now, psychology will tell you that at times there are some punishments we give that at the end might even strengthen the behavior we think we are trying to suppress. So as a teacher in the classroom, you must be aware of the situation, the circumstance, the intensity of that misbehavior. Now, when you identify that, what does your ethics say? How do you discipline such students? And I think even if you want to go with the lashing, I think there's a room for that, but it goes through a process where you must notify the headmaster, and I think you don't go beyond 6. But the truth is there are positive disciplinary tools that you can use. Look at the behavior. If you realize that you want to suppress it, there is something we call positive punishment and negative punishment. Now, the positive punishment is where you bring in something that the learner doesn't like. And that is where most teachers go in for the lashing, because some learners don't like the cane. We tend to introduce the cane as a positive punishment to lash you so that you don't put up that behavior again. But let us not forget, there's also what we call the negative punishment, where to some extent you withdraw from the learner what he or she likes. Just because you have misbehaved, I am taking 10 minutes of your break time from you. And in that 10 minutes, you are going to be in the classroom and do 1, 2, 3 activity. So I'll make you aware as a learner that you have misbehaved. This is what the behavior you have done, and I don't like it, or it's not good for you as a learner. And this is the punishment I'm giving you. And that will help us to correct the behavior rather than just introducing in the cane and a whole lot. There are lots of ways we can handle it without going against the ban on corporal punishment. That is the little I have on that.
Okay, thank you. So the next question says, so it's from Ewenam, and she's asking if you can give us some strategies teachers can adopt so that female learners can feel safe or comfortable sharing their problems with female teachers and vice versa.
Please, can you come again with that question?
Did you get the question?
Come again with it.
So the question is, can you give us some strategies teachers can adopt so that female learners can feel safe or comfortable sharing their problems with female teachers and vice versa?
Oh, okay. So, you see, it depends on us as teachers in the school, okay? Then if you join our previous webinar on emotional intelligence, I made mention that our learners look at us, the way we react. So if you are a teacher and you are always reacting to issues, your learners will be scared and coming towards you to share their problems with you. But any teacher who responds to an issue, and during that webinar, I distinguish between reacting to an issue and responding to an issue. So any teacher who is responding to an issue, you draw learners closer to you so that they feel comfortable around you. Because they know that when they tell you the issue, you don't react, you sit down, because in quote, you are emotionally intelligent. So you are responding to them. So they feel safe that, oh, I can share this with you. You are not going to shout, hey, why did you do this? What did you do when that happened? No. But you take your time and respond. Oh, okay. So you meant this happened, that happened, that happened. How do you feel? So you put up that conversation with the person. So the person feels safe. So one of the key strategies, make yourself approachable. And that is the way to go these days. Make yourself approachable, but ethically and professionally, so that your learners can approach you and share, especially the female learners can approach you as a female teacher, trust you, and share their concerns with you. So as teachers, please, let us always try to respond to issues rather than react, because our learners are.
You can you hear me?
Okay, I think you can take the next question.
Okay. So the next question is from Seth, and he's saying that he's a male teacher in a single-sex school. So it's an all-females. So he wants to find out how he can handle the female students who are fond of showing advances towards him, especially when teaching is in progress.
Okay, so as for this particular one, because you are in the classroom teaching and they are showing advances towards you, you can still flee, but not as a running away from the classroom. But look at the way you position yourself in the classroom, the way you interact with your learners. Re-examine that carefully and ask, why do you think, ask yourself, why do you think these learners are always approaching you? Is it that you are giving them any green flag that they're also looking at and they are always making those advancements towards you? So you have to re-examine yourself. Then when you go to the classroom, please act like a professional teacher. Okay? Although you are caring, but care within your means, so that they know that all the advances they're supposed to make towards you must be within the boundary. So even as teachers, I think it is high time we let our learners also know that in teaching profession, you have boundaries that you can go. The threshold that you can go, you have a limit. It's not all, you are not all knowing, it's not all that you can do, although you wish to do. So you have to at times guide them, tell them, oh, when this and this happen, do this and that. Okay, so maybe when it comes to you as a teacher in the classroom, and you realize that there are some situations above you, you have to advise them that these are things that you can handle within your means as a teacher. But if your school is lucky and you have counseling section, or you have a counselor to the school, a professional and licensed counselor to your school, you refer. You refer. But please notice the red flags. As soon as they are becoming too much, flee from those red flags. Don't give room for it before you come and fall into that temptation. Thank you.
Okay, so Gershon wants to find out that, so he's saying, doesn't mean the king should not be found in the teaching and learning environment at all.
No, I think even with Jesus now, there's room for that. And I keep saying that we need to know our learners. There are times some of our learners, when they receive the king, it put them into order for them to pay attention. But there are some also, when they see the king, they tend to feel anxious, the anxiety rises, and they don't follow whatever you are teaching in the classroom. So they are always afraid. And I think this even happened to me about how many years ago? Is it 12 years ago? Well, always, anytime the mathematics teacher is coming to the classroom, she's coming with a cane. Because you know that this will happen, this will happen. But there was an interesting thing in the class. While some of us were scared of the cane and we are learning, there are some that also says that, oh, after all, when he comes with the cane, how many lashes will she give me? I hear 6, 12. So me, no matter what, I'll take it and go. So we have to know our learners. If possible, you can put the cane aside. Okay, you can put it aside. And when it is needed, you introduce it. When it is needed, you introduce it. But in introducing it, please introduce it professionally. Follow the protocols that have been laid out, what you must do. Yeah, I think, I'm not, but yeah, you must inform the headmaster and let us follow the protocol and observe the professional ethics. Yeah, so that's what I have to say. And those who would like to always like working with the cane, maybe if you would like to use the cane as a pointer, there is a way you can handle it. Maybe you can tape the cane so that they don't look at it as a threat to them in the classroom. Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Gershon, I've seen your hand. I will come to you in a bit. So Seth, the issue on the number of points, I think earlier on, Mr. Wisdom indicated that this is a non-credit CPD. So Ima, the next question is from Ellie Pim, and she's asking, how can all the professional practices be adopted in the preschool levels?
Okay. So this was actually a question that we discuss and even debate on it if we're to be an in-person. Because I actually took note of that whilst preparing for this webinar. Because at the preschool, our learners need attention. Our learners need that extra care. Does that mean you should not provide it? No, you should. You must provide it. But all we are trying to say is that in providing that special care, it should be within the limits. You don't go beyond it. Okay, you don't go beyond it. Yes, so at the preschool level too, provide that care for your learners, provide that special attention. But in doing that, all should be done in a professional and a healthy way. And that is the key thing I want us to.
Okay, so Mr. Gershon, please unmute and talk.
Okay, so please, good evening to you all, and thank you very much, Mr. Ima. Recently, we were confronted with a case where a learner was sick, and had the teacher, who was the class teacher, asked the learner to go home. Later on, when the headmaster got to know, the headmaster got angry that any child that is sick, he should be made aware before anything else. Because parents are calling to complain that their children come to school when they are sick, and then we ask them to come to the house. And here lies the case, we don't have first aid in the school. So I would like to know, setting boundaries for the sake of our profession and then for the benefit to protect us. Should we allow a learner who is sick to go home, or should we take them in the school and first aid administered? Thank you very much.
At what level? Please, at what level? At what level do you teach?
Please, at the basic level.
Okay, at the basic, okay.
Yes, please.
Well, in all reality, if we have any of our learner is sick and the headmaster is around, no matter the first point of contact is to inform the headmaster must be aware because he is the head and know what is happening. Then I don't know, but I think my basic school there is a first aid box, and in that first aid box we have a dedicated staff who looks at that at the basic level, and that dedicated staff receive some kind of this basic training from a health facility in the town. Do you get it? So they can provide some first aid for you. But right after that first aid, you get escorted to go home to your parents. You get escorted to go home to your parents because we don't want a situation where you are going alone and you go and collapse on the way. So someone escorts you to your parents after that first aid. Because at times, that first aid might trigger different things because you know, as teachers, you are not health professionals. You only provide the first aid based on the little training they receive from the health facility. Some people too, as soon as you complain of stomach ache, they give you G. As soon as you complain of headache, they give you paracetamol. But it might be different thing. So you give that first aid. You inform the head teacher of that particular school. Then the learner gets escorted home. Or if your parents are not around, if the best you could do is if you have the contact, you call them. And if they give you the go ahead, oh, take the child to the nearest health facility. I'll be there soon. Then you go ahead. So there should always be a communication between the school and the parents in such situations, so that you don't just get up and say because the learner is sick, so you are taking charge, you are taking care of the learner. Unless you are the second cycle where usually there are sick days or there are clinics. That when you are sick, the first point of visit is you go to the sick bay because over there are professional nurses there to handle your case. Yes, I don't know if I've answered you.
Yes, please. It is well answered. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Gershon, please, are you done, or do I need to still read your other questions in the comment?
Oh, sir, please, the same question.
So you are done, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me see if we have. Okay, so you might think that's all for the questions. Please, if you have any question, kindly drop it in the chat or raise up your hands so that you can ask them. So, Mr. Seth, like Wisdom indicated earlier on, it's a non-credit CPD. So the essence of this webinar is to help build your professional knowledge, your personal development. So you are not getting any credit point from NTC for this webinar.
Yeah, so Daniel, just a little top up to what you just said. Yeah, so this one, we are just helping you to build your portfolio as mentioned earlier. But what we are doing is, after this webinar, to show as evidence, we have certificates. So if you are interested in the certificate that you can put on your profile, it is going for 50 cedis. There is a link on, I don't know if you're on our platforms, on our CPD platforms. If you're on any of them, there's a link there. I don't know, Daniel, if you can copy that link and put in the chat box for them. Those who want to request for the certificate for this particular webinar, you can complete that form and it goes for 50 cedis. You make the payment, your name comes to us, then we get the certificate to you to build your profile and portfolio. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for that information. So I can't see any further questions in the chat. Please, aside the questions, if anyone wants to make a contribution, you can go ahead and raise your hands or drop it in the comment in the chat. So I think there is one question here, and Cynthia is asking that in case where the learner's illness is a bit serious and needed to rush to the hospital, is it the responsibility of the school to pay for the bills?
Please call the parents, inform the parents, and I hope you have the contact of all the parents of your learners in your school. So you call them that this is the situation, and it's kind of an emergency. So you are rushing your ward to the hospital. Kindly meet us there. Please, they are supposed to meet you, okay? You are not supposed to be there and be falling the bill. But if you have enough and you want to support, oh, why not? You are there to care. You are there to support if you want to support. But please inform the parent that your ward is sick and this is a kind of emergency. So you are rushing him or her to the nearest health facility for medication so that your parents will meet you over there and take over. Thank you.
All right. Thank you once again. So I believe in the absence of any further questions or comments, we will. Mr. Gershon, please, is your hand still up or is the old one? Okay, so in the absence of any further comments or questions, we will draw the curtains here. But before that, I think Akwesi wants to speak, so let me unmute him.
Yes,
Mr.
right. Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I think that it is a very good seminar we've just had. That as for teachers, we have to ensure that we maintain some good professional barriers or distance with learners. I think it's very good, and even though it may be quite difficult to do in certain instances, I think it's important that as teachers, we ensure that we set those professional boundaries. And also, setting up those professional boundaries does not necessarily also mean that we are detaching so much from these students where we won't be able to support them in terms of their mental, in terms of their social, and even academic needs. You know, sometimes when we are talking about all these issues of detaching, sorry, not detaching, but creating or maintaining barriers, some may misconstrue it as then some may misconstrue it to be totally detaching from these students, but no, these students really need our support in terms of emotional help, psychological help, social help, and all that. And so we should be ever willing and ready to support them. But in the event or in the process of doing that, we should still ensure that we maintain professional barriers so that we don't get into any trouble. But I think some of these childrens are really burdensome. Like they are really burdensome in terms of the relationship some of them want to have with students. Sometimes it can go beyond what you as a teacher may be thinking, but they've been conceiving all those plans about you, the teacher. So I think we should be also very much abreast of all these things and know how to go about dealing with students. Yeah, so I think it's an overall great seminar we've just had. Thank you very, very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
too.
Thank you for your contribution. Iman, would you want to say anything?
No, I just want to appreciate, and that's just the central point to the entire thing. That's boundaries does not mean, or it's not a barrier to caring for our learners. And that's exactly the point he has just hit. Thank you for that wonderful contribution.
Okay, so Ima, the last question is from Gershon, and he's saying, at what point should a learner be sacked from a school or declaring suspension as far as behavior modification in teaching and learning is concerned?
Okay, in every school, when they are drawing their what's the name? Rules and regulations. Okay, rules and regulations. They have the variety of the offense. So most of the offenses, I think, if not the extreme ones, there is a punishment they give. Some of them, they put you into counseling. But if after that counseling you put outside behavior again, they issue the punishment, either positive or negative punishment, and they realize still you are not changing, but rather you are bringing more people to your camp. Then in that case, the school would like you to leave the environment so that you don't pollute others. So there is no particular threshold that as in when you do this particular thing, then you should give it suspension. Schools have their rules and regulations, what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do, and that every offense, what the punishment is, they have that. So I think if you hit that threshold, just as teachers, that we have our boundary, our learners also have their boundaries. So if they hit that limit and they go beyond, then that will come. So it depends on the severity of that and what the rules and regulations says. And this can, we teachers, we have to take note of certain things, especially when we are drafting rules and regulations. I've observed that anytime you are drafting rules and regulations, we always say, do not come to school late. Or in fact, all our rules and regulations are in negative forms. Always do not do this, do not do that, do not do this. How about if we take a twist to setting up our rules and regulations? Please, this is just something that I'm just saying so that maybe we can think through and see if we can change the environment some more. So we change our rules and regulations where we say students must do A, B, C. Because at times when we say do not do this, that particular action that they're not supposed to do, they get to hear of it. Then psychologically, it influences them that I want to do it. So what if we change the way we put in our rules and regulations? That do this, do that, and do that. It's something. In fact, we both, all of us, we are victims. So maybe it's something we should look at and see if we can change something. It's just thinking out. Yeah, Danny.
All right, Ima, thank you very much. And I believe we will draw the curtains here. So thank you all for joining today's webinar. And I believe we've all learned something new. So those of you who are interested in the certificate, the link to the request has been posted in the chat. So you can click on it and follow the subsequent procedures. So the slides for this presentation will be posted on your platform latest by the close of business on Monday. So on Monday, God will, and the slides will be posted on the platform. So thank you once again for joining this webinar. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.